What's up and welcome to Honest Car Reviews. My name is Eric and this is the brand new Ford Ranger Raptor. And what are the headlines? Well, we got the 3-liter V6 twin turbocharged engine. We got updated racing springs that are active. We got a lot of stuff to go through, but of course we'll start with the exterior. It is much closer to the new F-150 than before. More aggressive, definitely, especially with these C-clamp LED headlights, the Ford logo, and you have a new basher bar underneath here. I mean, the exterior in general just looks much more aggressive, and this paint is also brand new. And the tires, of course, let's see here, all-terrain TA BF Goodrich, really good. I'll show you later how good they are off-road when I drive it. But with the new engine, of course, you have a new exhaust and there are valves in it, so you have 4 different levels. Baja almost makes it like a straight pipe, so it sounds really good. The important thing to know about this car is that it's a European spec, and European spec means less horsepower. So you get 292 horsepower, just under 500 Newton meters of torque. But in Australia and Northern America, you have close to 400 horsepower. And that is basically because of restrictions. So we should just be thankful that we have something like this, of this caliber, in Europe. And there's basically no competition either. So let's check the rear seat here. And you can only get this as a twin cab, meaning rear seats. And just look at the better quality, completely revised interior, much more aggressive, much cooler, much newer, much fresher in all aspects. A lot of headroom, no problem there. Red stitching or orange stitching goes really well with the exterior, of course. Here you have auxiliary buttons to power, for example, headlamps. If you want a winch, you need some converters, you need whatever. These can be pre-installed from the factory, or you can, of course, through third party. Really cool. Of course there are plastics, but with the orange stitching and the materials, it feels much better than before. Chassis is completely revised. You have gone away from the leaf springs. Now you have springs and shock absorbers, both front and rear, and they are Fox Racing adaptive, which is one of the major highlights of this new Ranger Raptor. So they can change up to 500 times a second depending on how you're driving. If you're driving more aggressive, the shocks will stiffen up. If you're in the air, they will go to max distance, so when you land you'll have maximum suspension travel. I mean, really cool tech, but it has mean that you don't have as much loading capacity, just over 600 kilograms, which is basically the same as the previous Ranger Raptor. Basically everything is new apart from these buttons. Everything's very vertical. You have the infotainment system from the Mustang Mach-E. A cool design, very aggressive, of course. The infotainment system pretty slow. You do have pedals behind the steering wheel. You go into manual by pressing the M button on the side here. You have individual controls for the exhaust. So you have quiet, normal, sport and Baja. You also have suspension settings, normal, sport and off-road. Here you have all of the necessary, or almost all of the necessary off-road or driving selection modes. So you press this button here, it will fast travel you to be able to lock the rear diff, the front diff, and have hill ascent and descent control. So you set the speed by pressing it up, and you can set 2-4 kilometers an hour. It will keep that speed both if you go up and down. 2H, so rear wheel drive, 4-wheel drive H, and 4A, and that will send the power automatically to the front and the rear wheels. 4L is low range gear, so that's when you really need to tackle those really steep terrain. It's completely newly designed, this shifter control. The other one was really bulky and big, and you activate it by pressing the button behind here and then pressing it backwards. And you can switch through the driving modes. So you have normal, sport, slippery, mud ruts, sand, Baja, which we'll probably test later, And of course it changes all the driving modes, so in Baja we'll go to 4H, and there's also rock crawl, and that reduces how quickly the throttle responds to be as smooth as possible, basically. I've tested this on some regular roads, and I can say that this is definitely stiffer and feels more like a car than the previous Ranger Raptor. The petrol engine fits better in the general driving as well. It doesn't feel as invincible in softness as the previous version did. But I think the diesel engine fits better in these types of environments. But it hasn't lost any of its off-road capabilities.
After this we put the car a little bit on the left. Just this is the jump. Yeah. And now we are not going to jump. Just keep the car like this.
Yes.
And when you are at the top, release the power.
Release the power.
And the car
right.
lands. Power again.
The road is more aggressive and more bumpy than I thought it would be, actually. But it handles it very well.
Yeah, but you feel now that it's very bumpy. But when you are fast, the suspension absorbs everything.
Yeah.
Here there is a hole, this one, that it breaks your back. But when you are fast, the car goes over that, and you don't feel like this. So it's two very wrong or two right corners, one there, one here. After this is visible, it's a fast section. After this we need to brake here because this is closes at the end and it's sandy outside.
Yeah.
And this part is bumpy, you need to control a little bit the car because it moves a lot. But right here, after the left corner we stop a little bit and we go to Baja, stop.
Right.
And in Baja, you know, suspension is
softer.
No,
it's stiffer.
You will. It's stiffer, but for off-road.
All right.
When you are fast in off-road, the suspension is stiff, but when you are very fast, the suspension absorbs.
Oh, okay.
It's incredible. Also the gearbox, the power, everything. It's more sportive than when you want.
All right. It's very impressive.
Yeah, 3 lefts, 4 curves very fast. 1, 2. Brake at the 3. Brake a little bit, and on power again. So left corner. Brake before the hill. Right. Last that is a hole that goes all across the road that now you don't feel nothing because you are fast there.
No, that's true. Yeah, I didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
My final conclusion for the Ranger Raptor. On road it's different, it feels more like a car than a pickup, and that's a good thing. Off-road, trails, rocks, those types of things, it doesn't feel any different. But that's not a bad thing, because the previous generation was already so capable. But where this car shines is off-road on a faster flowing track. The added performance, the added sound, the added feeling that this V6 brings you, it was basically what everyone wanted, and Ford gave it to us. The price of 70,000 euros, when you consider this is a high performance off-road truck pickup, whatever you want to call it. If you are into these types of cars that can bring you these types of experiences, then the new Ford Ranger Raptor is definitely something to look at. There's no competition really, especially in Europe. It is, bar none, the best off-road pickup in Europe right now.